Olá, olá. Hello, hello, actually, right? Olá, olá is from Brazil, Portuguese. Welcome to our Fabric Talks, our second installment of the series.
Hello.
Of the second series, right? My name is Armando Lacerda, and I'm here with my friend Tiago. Hey, Tiago.
Hello. Hey, Armando. How it's going?
Good, good. one more week together. Second one out of 6.
It's second one. Yeah, let's go for it. So it's the second one for 6. So what are you going to see today, Armando?
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who are connecting here for the first time, we have done some intros last week. So we invite you to go and check out in the playlist in YouTube or on LinkedIn our second week. Tiago works for Microsoft here, but he's not. He's here without the badge, right? Just a regular citizen.
Yeah, take out my badge. So this.
There we go. And I am a independent consultant, worked with Fabric for a while, and also an MVP. So we are here to share what we feel like it's important. People are not talking much about it out there about Fabric, and or something that really helps us on a day-to-day. Last week, Tiago spoke about the SPNs and how to benefit from them from the warehousing perspective, which was great, Tiago. Awesome session.
Thanks.
Yeah. Today, we have a different topic, right?
Yeah, I hope so. Let's not talk about security today. So let's leave this for next week, where I'm going to talk about more security. So, but what you're going to see today, Armando?
Great question. So, what are we going to be see? What we'll be going to see today together? Sometimes I speak too fast. Is what I've been a data person and I've been working with SQL Server for almost my entire career. And as a DBA, I'm all in and independent consultant. I've been always called into scene when things start going slow. So I'm that guy, like when you press F1 and show up. And some of you kind of the same way, right? Sometimes you have a problem and you have to work in the details of that problem. When it comes to Fabric, when that problem is related to performance, when your Power BI report is rendering information, or you're training a model through a data set and things like that, it goes into some of the internals of Fabric that most people, I mean, Microsoft as a perspective, they don't like us to go in there much, because Fabric is software as a service, and being software as a service means Microsoft wants to handle everything from the back end. So like when Tiago presented us the warehouse and SPN last week, he showed us how to create that SPN, but the data warehouse that Tiago was showing us how to use with the SPN, it writes data to Fabric, to OneLake in its particular way. So today's session is about this writing on and the whole details behind writing to OneLake and how we can access from a different perspective, right? From a different way other than the regular lakehouse approach and the regular warehouse approach. And this is called semantic link. It's a library for the Spark engine we have in Fabric that's supported by Microsoft. It was created as an open source. It's still an open source, and is available. It's supported by Microsoft. It's fully documented. And today we're going to have our first tackle on it in the next 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So come with me and let's dive into this. Let's go, Tiago. Let's take a look. Let me see here. This one. All right. So let me start. Can you hear me, Tiago? You're doing okay
I was just saying, yes. Yeah, I can hear. So again, I was just having some internet issues. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay, good. I was just saying that that's amazing that you're going to talk about how the data is written in OneLake. And we're going to see that in hands. So show me that.
Let's see. Let's take a look together. So we have to start from some point, and I'm going to start from outside Fabric, right? I'm going to try to bridge from a context. Since this is a Microsoft, it's not sponsored by Microsoft per se, but it's kind of Microsoft context. I got a Microsoft employee here, which is not wearing the badge right now, but the whole context here is around Microsoft tech. So let's start from the SQL Server perspective. When we go into SQL Server and we create a table, in this slide here, I kind of try to illustrate what we have in SQL, right? We have the engine in SQL. Where is my mouse? Mouse is over here. And yeah, showing that, yeah. So I have my engine in SQL over here. And when I create, if I want to create a table, I have to create a database. So that database will have file groups, which are not on the slides. And then I create my table. And when I create my table, that table will land on a particular data file. Oh, actually, file groups right here. Here's my file group, and the data from my table will land on a particular file on a particular media. So this is infrastructure, right? That we're looking into the internals of SQL Server. When you go into SSMS, if you don't want to, you don't see any of this. You just see the table. But here's the starting point. When you create a table, that table is a structure. There's metadata and data to that table that is stored on a proprietary file that only SQL Server can deal with. And that file, the MDF there, the MDF, the log file, that file is stored in a file system. Then Microsoft came with Fabric. And when Microsoft came with Fabric, both the lakehouse and the warehouse, for both of them, they look at this and say, you know what, we're going to make it better. And one of what we're going to make it, the starting point to make it better is we are going to, let's see, there we go. We are going to not use proprietary files anymore. Why not? Because SQL Server was the only engine that was able to handle their data files or its data files. And that made the file, completely isolated, kind of a silo. If you need the data from there, you have to extract it and put it somewhere else. In Fabric, as you know, we have multiple data engines inside Fabric. We have the warehouse, we have the lakehouse, we have the machine learning that's based on Spark as well. We have Power BI, we have KQL. Tiago, there are so many, right?
Yeah, that's so many. So, and even external tools. So
even external tools. Exactly.
Armando, why this is important that you are saying? Why Microsoft Fabric has removed this restriction of proprietary files or engines and bring this to a different concept?
So, for that exactly reason, because we have many engines and we don't want to move data in between engines, because moving data is a waste of time, right? You got to data from SQL, got to get data someone else, you got to extract it and repopulate or hydrate. And then we are wasting space and we are wasting time. So it's a waste.
It's just a waste. So moving data across different places, it's an expensive process and time consuming. So basically you are saying that we are not going to take care of the moving data. Everything is
Exactly.
going to be in one place, in OneLake,
Hmm.
and every engine can read the same data. Is that
Exactly.
correct?
Like you said, every engine, including external engines, as long as we give them access, right? Exactly like you said.
Oh,
So
nice.
what? So instead of having a file share someplace, right, where or a storage place somewhere, like a DLS in Azure, or file system, file share, whatever, instead of having a particular service within the Fabric platform, we got the OneLake. And for the folks that are following us along here on YouTube and LinkedIn, remember I kind of joke about that all the time, right? We moved back from written language to hieroglyphs, like they used to do in the pyramids. So you have to be familiar with the icons, right? This one here is for OneLake. So we get the OneLake in there, and OneLake is where our files will be. But the files are not proprietary anymore. What files are we using? We are using, Microsoft decided to use for Fabric long ago, like a few years back, 3, 4 years back. Microsoft decided to use, and Tiago voted on that one. Just kidding, just speak on Tiago.
Yeah, I
And
wish I could.
say that again.
I wish I could have voted for that.
So Microsoft decided to use this open source format. And here's important, right? Because this format, parquet format, is not code, is not open source code, right? It's open source format, it's a specification. Think about XML. So when you write XML, you have the tags, you have the attributes, you have all those rules to write a well-formed XML. So it's kind of the same idea. There is this type of file, a type of file specification called parquet, and it's open source. You can go Google it and see, and you can write your own code if you like, and create your own application to read this type of file, like a CSV file would be, like a JSON file would be. But important here is this file. It was designed for analytics, for high volume of data, and high performance when retrieving that data. To make a long story short, you can compare the Parquet files like the column store index we have in SQL Server. When you are working SQL Server and you create a table and you decide to create a column store index on that table, especially if it's clustered, the SQL Server gets that table and compress the data and reorganize the data into column and store instead of a row store. And Parquet file is exactly like that. It's like the column store in
Interesting.
SQL in a file.
So you were saying that the Parquet file it's a columnar format.
Yes, it is a column format that also
Oh,
implements compression,
oh,
among
that's
others.
nice.
So
That's really nice.
yeah, super nice, right? And it's it can, again, it's open source specification. So any application, anybody, any developer anywhere in the world can create a code, follow the specifications, and can read the data from there. But the Parquet itself, it has some limitations. One of the limitations is it's read only. So if I have a table and I need to do an update on a table, I cannot do an update on a Parquet file. I have to read the data, do the update, and write a new Parquet file. So Databricks, that also uses this type of file and is a Microsoft partner, they came up with a new schema of managing these Parquet files, and they called that particular schema a delta table, and a collection of delta tables create this what we call a delta lake, right? So a delta table is nothing else than a set of controls on top of multiple Parquet files. And Fabric is using this. There are multiple benefits of using a delta table. You have time travel. You have the ability, like if you do an update, I don't need to read the information from a Parquet file, change it, and rewrite it into a new file. I can just get the changes and write to a new file, and then I read the files in a sequence. And the Delta format, the Delta specification, has a control file, a JSON file control file that's catalogs everything that happens to that table. So these two things together, the control information of the Delta table plus the parquet files, they come to represent a table inside Fabric. So when I go into
That,
Fabric and I see a table, that's what is behind the scenes in OneLake.
so basically, you are saying that the Delta table, it's or the Delta Lake format here that Databricks has created. It's a way to manage schema of the
Actually, is a
table,
way to manage the parquet files.
the Parquet file. So when I say schema, meaning controlling everything that happens behind the scenes on the Parquet file.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I go here, let me see if this switch will work, because that is that time when something that can go wrong will go wrong. Is when
Yeah,
you do your demos. Let's see
the
where
live demos is always dangerous, but
it's always
they are
dangerous.
the best.
And I love them. I cannot live without them.
Exactly.
Let's see. Let me get this one here. Let me escape from there. Oh, the browser isn't there yet. So let me get the browser there just quick. Where is the browser? Browser is here. There we go. Fabric. Let's get the Fabric over here. There it is. Now we are talking. Yes, now we are talking. So let me switch back in here and make sure I can read these things. So here, if I go ahead and pick any workspace here in Fabric, we can see some of these things there, right? If I go here, let me see. Oh, this one is empty. Do you believe I can barely read what is in my own screen? Let's try
So
this one. All right. So this is the thing. And I do have, so let's say here, I'm gonna create in here a lake house.
so what you're going to show us now is how to understand what is going on the Parquet files, right?
Yep.
So when you said in the beginning that we need to look into details, you are talking about we are going to see the Parquet files in details.
That is the idea. If
Oh,
I can
nice.
find my sample workspace here, let's see.
That's a private one, so you leave this for me in a
Yeah,
few weeks.
that's you. You're my inspiration for this one here. You're gonna try that. um, Apparently, that guy who deleted your demo last week deleted my one today.
Oh, don't say that.
Let's see. Yeah, let's go back to this one here. That's Azure SQL in SQL in Fabric. I'm gonna have to create a new one here for that. So let's go there. Lake house. Let's go here into the lake house. Semantic link. And let's go and create it. So I got it here. Somewhere in here there is a sample option, right? Sample database option. Let me see.
You
Go
can
on.
get data from the sample if this is what you want.
It is. I just can't read.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
There is a toolbar on the top. You can get data, and I believe that is the place.
Dang, I cannot read my thing.
No, they move these things around.
Yeah, I can't move. Can't see what it is. All right, I'll show this one here later. Don't waste time on troubleshooting this. But in here, when you go into the tables and you find and you get tables in there. At this moment, I don't have any. If you go here and look into the properties of the table, you can actually see inside OneLake the Delta table structure with the parquet files and the parquet files and the Delta structure, right? The Delta metadata. Let's go back to our slide deck. Let me go back in here and this. So here's the next step on this, Tiago.
So,
We have the table.
okay.
Remember, we have a data. We're talking about a database, right? In my database, I have tables, and I have a lot of other things around the database. Right now, I know how the table is in OneLake. I had the Delta format. There are other open source formats like Iceberg that may or may not come to Fabric later. It's used by Snowflake and some other things. As new.
It's coming.
Say that again.
Yeah, it's coming to Fabric.
Oh,
so
it is
the
coming. There we go. It's in the roadmap. But for now, what we have is the Delta table. And the thing about the Delta table when Databricks created it, because Databricks focus on this, is pretty much data crunching, not really creating elements like models, right? Data models. The Delta table defines just the table. It does not define metadata surrounding the tables with other tables. So if I have just a collection of tables, I can stop here. But in Power BI and other places inside Fabric, what you want to have, it's a data model that has relationships in between the tables.
Yes.
Plus everything else that Power BI does, right? DAX formulas, calculations, and all of those things. So in order to work and implement the whole scenario, which is this one here, that's kind of what we see on a database. In Fabric, we have this other item that is the semantic model. And again, hieroglyphs, the big one there, the big square there, is the semantic model. So the semantic model is a collection of metadata on top of Delta tables in Delta Lake for a collection of tables. That's also the metadata on top of parquet files, which is where the data actually lives.
That's interesting. So if I'm coming from the Power BI world and I have a bunch of queries there, and my semantic model is created inside of the Power BI. Now I can create the same thing through Fabric, right?
Exactly. You create the exactly same semantic model in Fabric. The difference is when you are in Power BI, you if you're using Power BI natively, right? You get the semantic model and the data all together. When you are in Fabric, if you're using Power BI natively, you have the same thing. But if you're using everything else that's available in Fabric, you got to have your data in OneLake. And the semantic model only has the metadata pointing to OneLake, which is called Direct Lake, right?
Right. That's interesting.
And the documentation describes it like this. Like when you go to Microsoft semantic link documentation, what they describe is we do have the Spark pools, right? We have the Spark pools to support both data engineering when you do, data, the lake house, and data science, which is the one here on the screen, which is the also the Spark engine supporting data science. And from there, you can consume what it's in OneLake. Perfect. But if the data came from Power BI natively, then you cannot consume until Microsoft released the semantic link library for the Spark pool. And this is my next demo that hopefully will work this time. Let me show you here. Let's see.
That's great.
Let's see. Let me get
it's really
back.
Interesting to see how Fabric is enabling much more options than just Power BI. For folks that are coming from Power BI, they have other options that going to help them to make their job easier and even extend what they're doing today.
Exactly. Yeah, I just noticed that our time is almost
It's
gone.
almost, yeah, I
So
know.
let me make sure that
Go,
we
go.
can see that element going on here. Let's
No pressure
go
on you, just
into this. Go back here. Did I have my browser there?
yes, you did.
The browser was there and it's not there anymore. So where did the browser go? I don't know. So let's get Fabric back there. And here on StreamYard, let me do this. Let me stop sharing the screen and start sharing the screen again. And this time around, we will be doing this. Let's see. There we go. And now I can now I can read.
Yeah.
Well, let's go. So here, let's say I want to do that connection with the semantic link. So I'm gonna go ahead and create here a new workspace, semantic link demo. And here in the workspace, when I'm creating this workspace, I got to make sure it is backed by Fabric, right? So I'm using the trial over here. And once it is created, there we go. I go here to the workspace settings. And here in the workspace settings, on the setting for my Spark pool, which
Data
is
engineering, data
data
science.
engineering, I'm suffering of, there
Yeah, a
we
little
go.
bit down.
There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah. I'm suffering of presentation blindness when it's right in front of you, but because you're presenting, you can't really see. So here I have my pool and I have the configuration for my pool. I'm on version 1.3 with Spark 3.5. This one here for this particular configuration for this particular pool, it does come from 3.4 on. See Spark 3.4 on. It does come with the semantic link pre-installed. So now we are to
Mm.
the point that it is already into the library, right? Uh, Older workspaces, if someone is working with older workspaces, they would have to add that one. But for this one here, we're good to go. So we can come here and create
So
a,
basically, there is nothing that I need to do. Everything is pre-installed for me. I can just start using that.
right now, yeah, right now is already there. So that's my lake, create the lake. And here in this workspace, because this workspace here is already, it's just created this one because I don't know where my demo one landed up. I don't have any semantic model here to work with, but the documentation, not this one, but this one, yeah. So here in the documentation on how to use the semantic models in the Spark pool, it will give you some sample codes that you can go there and run to see what you have available from the context you are connected with. So if I go here, I'm in my tables.
You have to create a new notebook.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Mhm.
Where is the here? Open notebook. Let's get a new one. And the notebook's coming. And in here, well, skip tour. I can take this tour later. So in here, I will start interacting with the semantic model, the semantic link library to show what would be available, what are the data sets that are available inside the semantic link, inside my workspace, right? And the semantic links that are in there. So let's see if this one flies. Okay, got my session on. And it takes a little while to get the back end to connect the whole thing. Once it's there, it will pop up in there. As it is still processing, let me go keep running here. Like it would show there that there is a, in this example, right? If you download their sample data, there will be a table like this. I don't have any table there because I have no semantic link at this point, a semantic model at this point. but there will be a table. So if I want to see the data that's in that table, I would ask to see the columns for that table, and then bring it up the list of the tables, and then start seeing how Fabric has organized that table in terms of data types, in terms of compression, in terms of the dictionary, and I could measure the efficiency. So in 2 weeks, we're going to come back to this one here and investigate those in order to get better performance, right? You got to dive
Okay.
into the Z order. People may not be aware of, but we have discussed that before, Tiago. In Fabric, we don't have indexes, right? We cannot create
Right.
index like we do in SQL. So how we go around that? One of the things you can use is this, so we can define the best way to organize your tables. And we'll see
That's
that in the next installment in 2 weeks. Next week is going to be the security in OneLake with you, but in next week we're going to see those metadata information coming and recreating tables so we can have better performance for our queries.
looking forward for that. So
Yeah, me
it's really
too.
nice. Yeah, it's really nice to see that with this library, we can read everything that is, let's say, behind the scenes or dive into the metadata. So yeah, that will be amazing.
Exactly. And we go into that metadata from the top of the mountain, right? From the
Yeah,
summit, from the semantic
that's
model
the
to the
model.
delta table to the parquet file to get the whole metadata collection available to us. And we can make decisions on what to do next to improve performance.
That's great. That's really amazing.
Cool. All right. So we finished this one in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Actually, it's going to be the second one in 2 weeks, right? Next week will be you. What are you going to bring for us next week?
So next week we are going to see the OneLake security. It's a pretty new feature that has been released for Fabric, and I'm going to bring some tips about how to use that. So stay tuned.
Great. I will stay tuned. I see you here next week, same day, same time.
Same day. Thanks,
See you
Armando.
later, Thiago.
Bye bye.
See you guys later.